What is going on, everybody? Welcome back, and today we are going to be putting a pin on the summer scouting series as we are going to be unveiling my top 100 prospects entering the 2025 college football season. This is an episode that I'm always super excited to put together for you guys. A ton of work goes into this every summer. I watched over 415 different prospects for this exercise. So if you guys wouldn't mind, consider hitting that like button. It helps me out a ton, helps get this video out to more college football fans and NFL draft creators that will enjoy content like this. Also, be sure to hit that link down in the description below that will take you to my Patreon page. For just $5 a month, you guys will get access to my 2026 NFL draft guide, where you guys will get to read my write-ups on not just my top 100, but all 415 prospects that I did write a scouting report for. Super excited to get into this. We're not going to spend a ton of time on every player. I have gone at length on most of these guys in the different positional rankings. So if you want more information, check those out and stay tuned for the prospect spotlights that will be coming through. But I'll give a few bullet points on each prospect. But let's go ahead. Let's kick this off from 100 to 88. Starting off at number 100, Trevor Gooseby, a guy that I do really like for this Texas offensive line. I think the potential is definitely there for him. 6'7", 315. I think he's got great athleticism. We just need to see him against more competition. Only played a limited amount last year. At number 99, I've got Howard Sampson, a 6'8", 340-pound left tackle that is transferring from North Carolina to Texas Tech. I love his size. I love the nastiness he plays with, moves his feet well. Can he be a little bit more balanced? Can he play with a little bit more control and improve his anchor? If he can do that, I think this is a guy that could get into the top 50 mix. At number 98, I have Dalen Everett from Georgia. I just don't view him as an elite athlete at the cornerback position. He's a little bit tight in the hips, doesn't have the greatest ball skills, but I do really love the instincts in zone coverage. He's got a good feel, can play a little bit of press. I think he is a third to a fourth round type of corner. At number 97, I've got Michael Taft, another guy that I just don't really see as this crazy high-end athlete, but a guy that has really good hip fluidity, the ball skills are there, and just one of the smartest overall defensive backs in the entire draft class. So I'm a big fan of Michael Taft. I've got him at number 97. At number 96, I've got Deontay Lawson, a 6'2", 239-pound linebacker that I think is a really great athlete. He's got explosiveness to come downhill. He's a great mover overall, has fluid hips. I just think he's got to improve. Dealt with some injuries last year. I think he struggles to disengage with blockers consistently. I am lower on Lawson than the consensus, but I do think if he has a big year, he could definitely get into that top 75 mix. Speaking of linebackers, at number 95, I've got Drake Bowen, a guy that I just think is a better overall tackler than Deontay Lawson, only a 5.7% missed tackle rate. Think he's a good athlete with great instincts in coverage. Another guy that's not an amazing block shedder, needs to see more pass rush production as a blitzer. But from what we saw at Notre Dame, who consistently produces great linebackers, I really like the upside of Drake Bowen. At number 94, I've got Logan Jones, a center from Iowa, a guy with incredible athleticism, great power, great strength, great leg drive in the run game. Just has to improve his grip strength, I think. Had some balance issues, but really strong anchor, good in all phases of the game. I've got him coming in at number 94. At number 93, I've got Chase Roberts from BYU, a guy that just has 6'4", 210 pounds. Reminds me a lot of Chase Claypool, a guy with a big frame, good contested catch ability. I just don't know if he's going to be an elite ball winner. Good, not great speed for the position. I think he's probably more of a big slot. So I've got him at number 93. At number 92 is a player I think a lot of people are going to think I'm too low on, and that's Kaytron Allen. I think he is a really good power back. It reminds me a little bit of like a Gus Edwards. I just don't view him as a number one back. I see him as a really good complement, a really good number two option, but there are just some inconsistencies in his game. I don't think he brings too much as a receiver, and I think his vision can be spotty at times. At number 91, I've got Jaden Roberts, another player I think a lot of people are really high on. I just don't see the athleticism that other people see. Took a lot of weird angles in the run game. is a bit of a lunger. Now, at 6'5", 325, you love the size that he brings. I think he's got really good anchor. Let's see if he can take that next step in this Alabama offensive line. At number 90, we've got Waffle House, Elijah Surratt, because he is always open, as Gus Johnson would say. One of the best, I would say, route runners. The slot fade routes, he does exceptionally well. He does a really good job of locating the ball in the air. Great size, great contested catchability. Very similarly to a Chase Roberts. Not an amazing separator or has the greatest of long speed, but this is a guy that you can just throw the ball up his way, and I expect him to come down with it 9 out of every 10 times. I think he is a really good contested catch ball winner. I've got him at number 90. And then Kevin Concepcion, now at Texas A&M, transferring from NC State. When this guy has the ball in his hands, he is lightning in a bottle. Not the biggest guy in the world, does not have a very physical game, but a guy that when you get him the ball in the backfield on screens, he can make big-time plays happen. Struggled with drops last year. It's ultimately why he's at 89, but I love the upside. And then at 88, I've got Bray Hubbard, a player that I really loved the coverage consistency that he brought. Really smart, heady defensive back with great closing speed, but I also thought he did great damage from the box. Very limited experience, similar to Trevor Gooseby, but from what we saw last year, if he puts on the type of season that he played for a full year, he's one of the top 5 safeties in this draft class, in my opinion. I really, really like Bray Hubbard. I've got him coming in at number 88. At number 87 in this class, that's where I am going to have Southern Miss cornerback Josh Moten. Look, I get it. One of the most undersized corners in this class at 6'1", 164. And to be honest, I don't really care all that much. I think he is phenomenal. Great athleticism. The long speed is great. But I also really loved what he did as a closer. The closing speed, the ball skills. I think he plays physical for his size, which you really like. He is probably going to be a slot corner at the next level. I think he can get up to around the 180 mark, and if he can do that, this is a player I really love. He's following Coach Huff to Southern Miss. I expect a big year from Josh Moten. At number 86, I've got DeMond Claiborne, a guy that I will be pounding the table for all year long. Just a really good, smart running back. The footwork, the shiftiness, I think is fantastic. One of the most patient runners in the class, but I thought he ran pretty routes out of the backfield. Has good hands, explosiveness. Not much of a blocking threat. I don't see him as a 3-down back. Does like to bounce things to the outside, but I think his high-end reps are really good. At 85, I've got Austin Romaine at Kansas State. A guy that I think you could compare him very similarly to a Deontay Lawson or a Drake Bowen, but I think he's just a better overall run defender. I think while he does struggle to disengage with blockers, he brought a lot as a blitzing threat. I thought his coverage and his instincts were really, really strong, and I think he can be a good player. Has to improve as a tackler, but the guy that has been uber productive for Kansas State, I've got him at 85. At 84, we've got Davison Igbinosun, a guy that is, how do I put this? The high-end reps of Igbinosun are some of the best cornerback plays that you're going to see of any player in this class. Speed, physicality, movement skills, it's all there for him. He is one of the most grabby corners you're going to see. Got penalized way too much for Ohio State. If he can continue to clean that up, I think this is a guy that could get into the top 50 because the traits are there, but he has to clean up some of his technique. At 83, I've got Ethan Onyanwa out of Ohio State. 6'6", 357-pound transfer from Rice. I thought the strong anchor was what impressed me the most. Great pass protector, good hands to counter pass rush moves, has played on both sides of the line. While he is coming from a bit of a smaller program, I look forward to seeing what he can do with Ohio State. This is a guy that is transferring up in competition. I love what he brings in pass protection. Let's see what he looks like in the run game, because I thought there were a lot of inconsistencies to connect in the run game. Can be a bit of a lumbering mover at times, but I think the traits are there. I've got him at number 83. At number 82, I've got Eli Stowers, the first tight end that we're going to talk about. I think he's a good player, still learning the position. I don't really see him as a second round type of guy that a lot of people do. I thought he was schemed open a lot, used a lot in motion, but a guy that I do like what he brings. A really good for receiving upside, versatility, and he's got one of the best first steps off the line of scrimmage. He has to continue to grow. He's 6'4", 235, and has to continue to improve as a nuanced route runner and separator. But if he can do that, I do think he will have a role in the NFL. At number 81 is the first guy that we're going to talk about that I didn't talk about in summer scouting, and that's going to be Will Lee III. I've been very late to the Will Lee party. This is a guy that was on my watch list last year. Didn't watch him. I just watched him, I think, last week, and overall really impressed with what we saw from Will Lee. 6'3", 190 pounds, one of the most physically imposing corners in the class, has great length. I thought his press man ability was phenomenal. Does a really good job of jamming receivers at the line of scrimmage. He has the size and length that you look for in a starting boundary corner, and I think he moves really well. The change of direction is pretty good. I don't think he's got the craziest vertical speed. It's ultimately why I have him at 81. I just don't think he's a burner. I think he's probably like a 4.48 to a 4.52 type of guy. But if he can impress me there, I definitely think this is a guy that can be a lockdown number one corner at the next level. Let's see what he looks like in his second year at A&M. But a guy that I did really like that I think has the upside to be a top 100 pick. At number 80, we've got Damani Jackson, the complete opposite of Will Lee. Traits for days. 6'1", 197. He's got the length, the size that you look for. Great in press man, has physicality. I thought his run defense got a lot better in 2023, but his speed and his ability to, win and challenge these vertical routes is absolutely fantastic. He's one of the fastest players in this draft class. I've got him at number 80. At number 79, I've got Armaj Reed Adams, player that I do like at 6'5", 330, has impressive hands, strong anchor for the interior, has played both tackle and guard for you. I think he's a pretty good power blocker. I think he reminds me a little bit of like a budget version of what we saw with Tyler Booker last year. I think a lot of people are going to overrate Reed Adams. I just thought the penalties were a concern. I don't think he is a superstar athlete. And I think while his hands are good, he needs more refinement to redirect rushers. So I've got him at 79. At number 78, I've got Iapani Lalolu out of Oregon. I know I probably butchered that name, but another guy that is 6'2", 325 pounds, playing the center position. I really liked his ability to redirect rushers. Great hand placement, really nuanced there, has good footwork, has a great frame. I thought a lot of his issues were in his feet. Overset, got beat to more quickness, which I thought definitely could improve. But I thought that there were a lot of times where he didn't recognize blitzes and stunts coming his way. If he can improve some of the IQ areas of his game, I think he has the upside to be one of the best centers in this draft class. So I've got him at 78. At number 77 is one of my guys in this draft class, Stanford cornerback Colin Wright, a player that is a really solid open field tackler with twitch and elite change of direction ability. The ball skills were there, had a bunch of pass breakups and interceptions last year. I think he can play inside and outside. This is a player that's not getting discussed nearly enough in this class. I don't know if he is the fastest guy in the world. I thought he got beat inside to slants and quick hooks and things of that nature. But a guy that has the traits, again, size, length, I think it's there. Might not be the fastest player in the world, but overall a player that I definitely have my eyes on. At number 76, I've got Drew Shelton. I think he's underrated in this tackle class that is elite. I think there is a world where he could be a sneaky first-round pick if he has a better season in 2025. Elite athlete, I think. I thought he did a great job on outside zones, getting to the second level, has good hand counters, blocks with power, has great overall traits in pass protection, just has to improve his feet. Oversets a lot, led to mistakes, led to pressures on his outside shoulder, which came a little bit more frequently than you wanted to see. I also don't know if he has the greatest length in the world, but a guy that I like what we've seen from him in both the run and the passing game. I think he is a good athlete. I've got him at 76. And then at number 75, I don't know if he's the only FCS player, but he might be. I've got Bryce Lance from North Dakota State, a guy that thoroughly impressed me in this draft class. Excellent hands. This guy caught everything thrown his way. Played awesome as the year went on in the college football, or the FCS championship, if you will. 6'3", 204 pounds. I thought he did a really good job of putting on double moves, making really good plays as a route runner. He's another guy that's not the fastest. He's a bit of an older prospect, but I think he has a chance to skyrocket up draft boards because the production's been there. He's physical. He knows how to separate at a really high level. He's a guy I have my eye on. I've got him at number 75. At number 74, I've got Oregon running back Mekhi Hughes. Hughes is a player that, look, he's coming from Tulane. I think he has good but not great vision. And that's kind of where I come up with him. He reminds me, I know a lot of people are going to compare him to Jordan James in this offense. I think he's better than Jordan James. I really do. A guy that I think has fantastic burst and explosiveness. I thought he was a good blocker. Has a good frame at 5'11", 210 pounds. The contact balance areas of his game, surprisingly not as great as you were anticipating for a guy like Mekhi Hughes. I wanted to see more from him as a blocker, but look, I think he's a good running back. Might not have the greatest long speed, but his burst and explosiveness are fantastic, and I think the upside is certainly there. So I've got him at 74. Right ahead of him, I've got another running back in Bryson Washington. 6 foot, 203 pounds, another guy with really good size at the running back position. I think he's a little bit better after contact. He shrugged off defenders, made a lot of really nice impact plays as a receiving back, and I think he has really good open field speed. Doesn't have the greatest vision, not an awesome blocker either, but really only 1 year of production right now. If he can put on another great year for Baylor, watch out for Bryson Washington. At number 72, I've got Big Citrus Dominique Orange. This is another player that I have adjusted pretty heavily after summer scouting. I had Zane Durant originally in this spot, and after doing a little bit more reading and doing a little bit more evaluations, I have Orange swapping, and Durant is not in my top 100 today. Orange is just one of these guys that there just aren't a lot of players that can move like Dominique Orange does. 6'2", 325 pounds. Just elite size to be a starting nose tackle. But I think the beautiful thing about Big Citrus is he isn't limited to a nose tackle role. This is a guy that played up and down the Iowa State defensive line that has really good athletic ability, quickness, and burst off the line of scrimmage, plays low, wins the leverage battles, had a pretty productive year as a pass rusher. I think a lot of those numbers could be a little bit overrated, but he's a really good player. He's going to be a good run stuffer. He's going to be a great power player early on in his career. And if he can continue to take strides as a pass rusher, this is a top 50 talent almost. So I like Big Citrus. I've got him at number 72. At number 71, I've got Malik Muhammad. I'm just really not there on him as a prospect yet. Yes, the athleticism is great. Has some good hand fighting at times, but really light at 190 pounds. Not a great tackler. I thought his footwork was choppy. Not an awesome man-to-man coverage guy. Played a lot of zone. Reminds me a little bit of Maxwell Hairston, who I had very similarly, and like my top 75 was a lot lower on Hairston. So we'll see what he can end up doing this year at Texas as the number 1, but definitely have some concerns about him. At number 70, I've got Austin Barber, 6'6", 316 pounds. Really impressed me on tape, has some power, can be a good pull blocker in the run game due to some really good athleticism, has some impressive hands in pass protection, but as a run blocker, has to improve at landing strikes. Looked lost at times in the run game, disengages a little bit too early, and I do think he oversets and gets beat to quickness a lot. So a player that I do like, but I am not quite there as a borderline first rounder. Cage Casey at number 69, 6'5", 316 pounds, incredibly strong player with great grip strength, good footwork and pass protection. Just overall, the play strength is phenomenal, but his feet stop moving in pass protection, and I just don't think he's this awesome run blocker. So for that reason, I've got him at 69. I think he can hold up well in pass protection, but not much of a guy that I like in outside zone. And I also worry about the arm length. He might be a guard at the next level. At number 68, I've got another guy that I'm really high on in Malachi Fields. 6'4", 220 pounds. I love the footwork at the top of his routes. I thought he separated overall better than you would expect. It's not amazing, but it's not bad at all. Has good speed, good physicality overall. Just a bit of a late bloomer. I believe he's 22 years old, not super shifty after the catch or this great athlete, more of a contested catch guy, but I am a fan of what he could bring to an NFL team. I'm very excited to see what Notre Dame does. He is the Notre Dame receiver that I have rated highest in this class. At number 67, I've got Carson Beck. I think he gets a lot of hate with how things went down at Georgia last year, but I thought he still showed a pretty good quarterback. The accuracy was still pretty good. He has to do a better job of not putting the ball in harm's way, feeling pressure a little bit more, but a player that I do like nonetheless. I've got him as a borderline second-round grade. At number 66, I've got R. Mason Thomas, a speed rusher, very reminiscent of Nick Bonito. Doesn't have a ton of counters in his game at the moment, but a guy with incredible speed to bend. He is going to be a difference maker in a designated pass rushing role. At number 65, I've got DJ Harvey transferring from San Jose State. Great length. The long speed, I think, is phenomenal. He's got good run defense upside, quick feet, the ability to make plays on the football. Missed a little bit more tackles than you wanted to see. Has to bulk up at just 174 pounds. And I thought he got grabby with the ball in the air. But another guy at the cornerback position that's sticky, I think has really good traits. I've got him at 65. At 64, we've got Joe Royer out of Cincinnati. Lined up everywhere for the Bearcats, but made a lot of really nice plays in the wing formation. A smooth route runner with soft hands. Pretty good after the catch. He's not an awesome blocker, not an awesome athlete, but a guy that just does everything you want to see from the tight end position. At 63, we've got Jack Injuries, one of my favorite players in this class. I think he was underutilized this past season at Cal. A solid blocker, another guy with a good frame at 6'4", 240. Reliable hands. He made plays after the catch you wanted to see. I wanted to see him be a little bit more aggressive, disengaged early at times as a blocker, but he's a good player that I think is going to be utilized really well in this Texas offense. At 62, I've got Drew Aller. I have to see a big jump from him. This is very much a projection because based on what we've seen so far, I don't really see it. But the arm talent, the size, he checks all of those boxes. It's just the accuracy, man. He has to clean it up, do a better job of hitting open receivers. And if he can do that and improve some of the pocket feel, which I think has been a bit of a concern, then yeah, I think he can be good. But the mechanics are off, misses some of the easiest throws on tape. I've got him at 62. At 61, I've got Jaden Ott out of Oklahoma. Another guy that I think was underutilized for Cal, was dealing with injury last year at 6', 200, but when this guy has been on the field, he's been phenomenal. The open field burst and explosiveness, the shiftiness in the open field, the patience, the size at 6', 200 pounds, the ability to run guys over. I think he's got good contact balance. He's not a great blocker and just had a down year last year, but everything that you want to see from him, I think, is in there. I've got him at number 61. At number 60, I've got Cassius Howell, the most productive receiver last season on that Texas A&M defensive line that produced multiple top 80 draft picks. 6'4", 255 with incredible athletic ability, speed to power. His hands and feet are in sync with each other beautifully. Has a nasty spin move. I think he's got good counters. I really, really like Cassius Howell. He made my first-round mock, so I'm a big fan of this player. At 59, we've got Sonny Styles, a safety converting to linebacker that I really loved as a safety. And I think if he takes another step in the right direction, Styles can be one of the top linebackers. Has some fluidity concerns at times, missed more tackles than you want to see, but the timing as a blitzer is one of a really good run defender. Great size at 6'4", 235. I think he can do everything for you defensively. I've got him at 59. At 58, I've got Kenyon Sadiq, my top-rated tight end, a guy that is one of the filthiest blockers in this draft class that also brings you a little bit after the catch. He's not a great receiving threat yet. He hasn't improved the twitch as a route runner or anything like that, but The high-end stuff with Kenyon Sadiq is scary good. I've got him at 58. At 57, in maroon, I've got Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, my number 3 safety in the class. I mean, everything you want is phenomenal. The tackling, the run defense, the physicality. I think he's got good coverage instincts as a single high safety. The hips and change of direction, I think, is really good. I don't know if he's got elite speed. I did think he bit too hard on double moves at times, but Toledo produces really good NFL talent. I think Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is another guy that we need to start looking at as a potential top draft pick. At number 56, I've got Jacoby Lane, another guy that I didn't get to in summer scouting and the wide receiver rankings, but a really good combination of size and speed. 6'4", 195 pounds, has quick hands, catches everything, quick when breaking out of his routes, has speed to win vertically, but he has that TikTok release package. Really bad footwork at the line of scrimmage. Has not produced much after the catch in his collegiate career. And he's got to bulk up. He's 195 pounds at 6'4". If he can do that, this is a guy that has the physical traits to be the wide receiver 1. But right now, I see a little bit too many inconsistencies. So I've got him at 56. At 55, I've got Carnell Tate, a guy that I think he's an okay receiver. I just don't think he's a great athlete. Don't think he's got great vertical speed. Don't think he is the most physically imposing guy, and he doesn't have great twitch. He's got reliable hands. I think he can be a good wide receiver 2 at his peak, but I just don't see him as a great number 1. He's an okay route runner, has reliable hands. He's one of those guys I think he's a master of all, or a jack of all trades, master of none type of guy. I think he's just okay at everything. So I've got him at 55. He'll have a role in the NFL without a doubt. At 54, I've got Blake Miller, really, really good athlete at the right tackle position. Powerful blocker in space with great footwork and hand placement. I really like that about him. He's going to need to bulk up at just 315 pounds because there are times when it does directly affect his game. His anchor is not very good. He has to get better in his lower half. He oversets at times, lets defenders work into his chest, gets beat to quickness far too often for a guy that's as athletic as he is. The upside's there. That's why he's at 54, but he's got a lot to clean up for you. At 53, I've got Vega Ione out of Penn State. Well, I think he's my top-rated guard. I could be wrong. 6'4", 334 pounds. Great footwork overall. I loved his ability as a chip blocker, was a really good help blocker on the inside that brought good movement skills and hand counters. I thought that he was really good at countering pass rush moves, but I think he doesn't recognize blitzes very well. I want to see more power. For a guy that's 334 pounds, this is a guy that didn't really bring the boom, if you will, as a blocker. I think that's got to get better for him. And I just thought that he was a bit of a lumbering mover at times. His footwork might need a little bit of improvement, but another full year as a starter for Penn State, even with those weaknesses, I think he gets into the second or third round. So I've got him at 53. At 52, I've got Jalen Kilgore. I don't know what he is, if he's a corner, if he's safety. He's got the versatility to play both. Another just freak in the South Carolina secondary. Size, athleticism, hitting ability, it's there. I thought his closing speed and his ball skills were really impressive. He's just really raw. Missed a lot of tackles. Does not have a lot of boundary experience. Did a ton of damage from the slot. And I think he lets defenders work in front of him way too easily. The traits are there, without a doubt. And South Carolina produces really well with these types of players. Let's see if they can put it together. I've got him at 52. At number 51, I've got DJ McKinney from Colorado. Great ball skills and athleticism at 6'2", 190 pounds. He's going to have to bulk up, though. I think his play strength really has to get better. His hands at the top of routes, I think he can get a little grabby. Just struggled to get off of blocks consistently. But the movement skills, the fluid hips, I think the stickiness in man coverage is really impressive. So I've got him at number 51. At number 50, I've got Garrett Nussmeier. I think this is going to be the one that everyone's going to really not like, but I just don't think Garrett Nussmeier is a first-round quarterback. I don't. I have a second-round grade on Nussmeier. I did a whole prospect breakdown on him, so if you guys want, be sure to check that one out. But, man, Nussmeier is a guy that isn't a good athlete. He's really small for the quarterback position. He doesn't read the field exceptionally well right now. He forces the ball into tight coverages, but people still think he is the top quarterback in the class. And look, the arm talent's phenomenal. The ball placement is like elite. I just don't think he's got the traits to be a number one quarterback. I don't see him as a franchise guy. Has a weird throwing mechanics, forces the ball into tight coverage, throws off his back foot way too much. Way too much. There's just a lot of inconsistencies in there for me, and so I've got him at number 50. At number 49, another player we didn't talk about in summer scouting, in Keith Abney. Again, I do apologize. I missed up on the slide here. They are not a dark blue team, but nevertheless, Keith Abney, I was late to the party on. 5'11", 195 pounds. One of the stickiest corners in man-to-man coverage. I mean, just really good. Change of directions. So disciplined. Doesn't bite on double moves. So much to really like. And I think the ball skills were certainly there. Does get a little grabby, but the area I'm most concerned about is his size. I know he's listed at 5'11". There's no way he's 5'11". Just absolutely no way. He's probably 5'9" at best. A lot that I'm worried about there in terms of his size, but man, the stickiness in coverage is really impressive. So I've got him at 49. At number 48, I've got Mansour Delane out of LSU. One of the most impressive players to me this past season for Virginia Tech. Played a little bit of safety this past year, but he's got stickiness, can play in a variety of different schemes, can play press really well. The closing speed, was a strong tackler and a pretty good run defender. I mean, there's a lot to really like. Can stop and go on a dime. Another guy that's a little bit undersized. The play strength, I think, could get better. A lot underneath, but a player that I do really, really like. I've got him at 48. At 47, I've got LT Overton. I think he brings you an exceptionally high floor as a run defender. As a pass rusher, I think he's really stiff right now, and we're going to need to see some major developments for him. I think he can do it, but right now I think there's too many question marks. I've got him at 47. At 46, we've got David Oki out of Arkansas. David Oki is a freaking monster for Arkansas. I didn't talk about him in my defensive tackle rankings. This guy's awesome. So good laterally. So one of the best lateral movers in this class, transferring from Abilene Christian to Arkansas. I mean, this is a guy that brought versatility. I thought he was a really solid overall run defender, great at plugging rushing lanes, had a nice inside spin move. The athleticism, I think, is really good, converts speed to power really well. Does get pushed off the ball a little bit too easily in the run defense, and has not been overly productive as a pass rusher yet. But he shows active hands. He shows upside. I really, really like this guy. I've got him at number 46. At number 45, I've got Christian Miller out of Georgia. Another guy that I think has rare athleticism for his size. I love the rip move that he showed. High motor, high effort. I did think, again, was pushed off the ball easily in the run game. Has to turn pressures into sacks. Just has not been very productive in that phase, but the traits are there, and Georgia always produces great defensive linemen. At number 44, I've got Caden Green, 6'5", 320. Great chip blocker with athleticism and hand placement and pass protection. Does need to improve his technique, plays with high pads, does struggle against power at times, but I think he's a really good player. And then at 43, Chris Bell. So Bruce Feldman, I believe, or Dane Brugler, put out his wide receiver rankings, and he had Chris Bell at wide receiver 2. And I had Chris Bell on my watch list, and I had to watch him at this point. Yeah, this guy's awesome. 6'2", 220 pounds, rare blend of size and athleticism. Great release package off the line of scrimmage. Really good twitch as a route runner with feathery soft hands for the position. The size is phenomenal. He catches everything. Runs a very limited route tree as of now, but you definitely can see some of the nuances in his game. I want to see him really improve after the catch, be a little bit of a more dynamic threat there, but really impressed by Chris Bell. I think he could definitely be in the first round conversation when it's all said and done. At 42, I've got Mateo Uiagalelei, 6'5", 270. really good off of stunts and working on the inside shoulders of offensive linemen. Think he's got solid athleticism, change of direction and bend, and made some good plays as a run defender. I do want to see him develop more counter moves. Felt too often he was reliant on his power, but a player that I think has a really high floor right out the gate. So I've got him at 42. At 41, I've got Jonah Coleman. I really like him as well. 5'9", 229. Great contact balance and footwork. Does not turn the ball over. I mean, incredible ball security. I love his blocking as well. You just worry on if he can be a great athlete. Just the long speed's not awesome, but he's got great vision, great power. I really like Jonah Coleman. And then at 40, I've got John Mateer. I'm going to bet on John Mateer this year. Pun intended there. I mean, Oklahoma's got great weapons. I think the offensive line should be much improved. Mateer's the most fun quarterback to watch in this class. Has a bit of an unorthodox playing style that is reckless at times, but just a lightning quick release with great pocket feel, athleticism, can throw the ball at a bunch of different angles. Great timing, I think, on some of his throws. Can he do better at improving out of structure, making plays on the run? I feel like he got stuck on one read way too often, which I think is a lot of the Washington State offense. The buzz is real with John Mateer, though, and I'm really high on him. I've got him at number 40. At number 39, we got Eric Singleton. Has some of the craziest speed of anybody in this class. I think he's a 4.2 speed guy, a little bit undersized, not great against physicality, but the traits alone, I think, are really enticing. I've got him at 39. At 38, I've got Caleb Tiernan for a 6'7", 329-pound offensive tackle. I worry about his length and his pad level. That's about it. I mean, the athleticism, I think, is great. Good run blocker, great footwork and pass protection, picks up blitzes and stunts really well, utilizes his hands awesome. I don't think Caleb Tiernan's getting talked about enough in this tackle class. I've got him at 38. At 37, I've got Denzel Boston, a player that is drawing comparisons to Tetairoa McMillan as a contested catch type of receiver. Big body at 6'4", 209 pounds. Not a great route runner, doesn't have great burst, but great size, catches everything. Can he be more consistent throughout the entire year? He definitely took a dip in the second half of the season, but I love Denzel Boston. I've got him at 37. And then at 36, I've got Connor Liu, a borderline first-round player to me. Great chip blocker, anchor for the position, but the ability to mirror in pass protection, the strength and athleticism in the run game, I think is really good. Gets beat to his inside shoulder a little too frequently for me, but overall, a really, really good center. I think he could get into the first round. I've got him at number 36. At number 35, another Auburn player here in Xavier Chaplin. Trades for days, great at climbing the second level, moves his feet well, has to improve some of the nuances here, picking up blitzes, being more of a threat in the run game. His anchor is up and down, but at 6'7", 338, he has shown the ability to be a good blocker in the run game, be a good pass protector. I'm buying a lot of Xavier Chaplin stock this year. At 34, I've got CJ Allen, a player that I do think is slightly overhyped in this class. I see a lot of people talking about him like Roquan Smith. I don't quite see that. I do see the athletic traits. 6'1", 235, great size, speed, the ability to go sideline to sideline, fill run gaps well, great tackler. It's the coverage that I think could improve, but he's a great player, and if he can do that, I think the sky is the limit. At 33, I've got Antonio Williams, probably a slot-only receiver at 5'11", 195. His drops are very concerning, and he's not very physical, but one of the best route runners in this class. He's incredibly quick, incredibly effective after the catch, broke in and out of routes quickly, has great footwork, elusiveness. He's a big player that I think is going to have a big year at Clemson this year. At 32, I've got Xavier Scott. The last guy I believe that I didn't talk about in summer scouting, Xavier Scott is freaking awesome. I mean, reminds me a lot of Devon Witherspoon. Maybe I'm doing a little bit of helmet scouting there, but 5'11", 190. He is just a feisty competitor. I mean, strong tackler in the box, incredibly strong run defender, stops and goes on a dime, has good fluidity, coverage instincts. He's just not the most superstar athlete. I don't know if he's a corner, if he's a safety. Doesn't really matter to me, though. I think there's a one of the best players in this class in the secondary. So I've got him at 32. At 31, I've got Sam Levitt, a guy that I think is really wiggly, if you will, in the pocket. He escapes pressure really well, has great confidence, throws great touch passes. The athleticism is really good. I think he makes good decisions with the ball. Just not the biggest guy at 6'2", 200. I think his deep ball accuracy is very up and down. And because of his size, a lot of balls were batted at the line of scrimmage. I'm very excited to see what he can do this year. He's got one of the best receivers in the country, who we'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, I really like Sam Levitt. I think he could get into the first round mix because I think the arm talent is good. He's really accurate with the ball. He's a really good athlete out of structure. I think he's a good player. At number 30, we've got Caden Proctor. Really fun overall tackle prospect. As a run blocker, I really like him. I don't really have a lot of complaints. He might not be the greatest athlete for outside zone. As a pass protector, major red flags for me. My early comparison for him is Evan Neal. I have him at 30 because you just can't deny the 6'8", 370-pound behemoth that this guy is, and the athleticism that he has. That's a guy that you bet on every single time. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't very worried about some of the inconsistencies in pass pros. That's why I have him at number 30. At number 29, we got Torian York, a small linebacker, but man, the athleticism is phenomenal. His ability to snuff out screens, really good range athletically. He plays bigger than his size, stacks and sheds blockers beautifully. He's just a little bit short at 6'2", 235, and there are plays when he gets flushed out because of that, but I love Torian York, one of my favorite players in this class. At 28, I've got A.J. Harris, a player that I have moved up my board quite a bit. I think that he brings just really high upside on the boundary. 6'1", 193 pounds with great fluid athleticism. Just beautiful cornerback play. I mean, physicality, you can use him as a blitzer, has good speed, good length. He just misses so many tackles, and his ball skills aren't there right now. But if he can continue to produce, I think he's a first-round corner every day of the week. At 27, I got Jake Slaughter. Besides from having the best name in the game, just everything you want in a center prospect. Athleticism, hands and feet are fantastic. He's a great chip blocker, picks up blitzes and stunts really well. He has strong anchor, moves his feet really well. He's a great run blocker. Yeah, there might be some balance concerns, and he is 294 pounds. I'm not worried about that at the center position. I think he checks every box you're looking for. I've got him at number 27. At 26, I've got Chandler Rivers, the short king of short kings. I mean, he's not the biggest guy, but he's the smartest defensive back in this class. I mean, yes, he's going to Duke, so that should factor into it a little bit. But, I mean, what's there not to love about this player? The ball skills, the zone instincts. I think he is just a really feisty competitor. I'm all in on Chandler Rivers. Stay tuned. I've got a prospect breakdown coming on him next week. So I love this player. At 25, I've got Fernando Mendoza, a player that I just want to bet on at 6'5", 225. Incredible arm talent, really tough, took some big-time hits, stood in the pocket, and just made some really good throws last year for Cal. He's got good accuracy. I think he's a better athlete than he gets credit for. Do I worry about his eyes? Yes, his eyes just did not move. Forces the ball at times. The pocket feels not great. Took a lot of bad sacks. But you're going to Indiana now that did a really good job of getting the ball out quickly. All the traits that you want in Fernando Mendoza are there, from arm talent to athleticism to accuracy. I think it's overall pretty good. Let's see what he can do this year at Indiana. Speaking of Indiana, I've got D'Angelo Pons at 24. Look, he's 5'9", 170 pounds, and the only really issue that I have is his size. He's short. He's a little bit small. He does not play like it, though. He did a really good job against Jeremiah Smith, was pretty locked down in that game. Fluid hips, great change of direction, plays physical for his size. Overall, I think he is a pretty reliable tackler, wraps up really well. Can be over-aggressive, had 7 penalties in 2024, but just an awesome player. I've got him at 24. And then at 23, I've got Nick Singleton. I'm higher on him, I think, than the consensus. I think he just has great vision, footwork. There's so much I really love about his game. I think that he can make plays out of the backfield as a receiver. I think he's got good vision. I think he's really shifty in the open field. I really love Singleton. I've got him at 23. At number 22, I've got David Bailey. the best speed rusher in this draft class to me by a lot. I just absolutely love the pass rush upside that he brings. Elite speed to bend, has a spin, has a swim. I mean, everything you want in a pass rusher David Bailey has. Would be edge one if he was even remotely an average run defender, but he is putrid in that aspect. At number 21, I've got Dylan Thieneman. Just incredible athleticism as a roaming free safety. You want to see him get back to what he did as a true freshman, but there is no denying the upside that he has. 6 foot, 207 pounds, great pre-snap recognition. Could improve as a tackler, but I really love what he brings to the table. I've got him at 21. At number 20, I've got Mekhi Lemon out of USC, a player that I'm really high on. I just think he brings everything you want in a slot receiver. Quickness, elite change of direction, good hands, great after the catch. He's just not the biggest guy in the world, but I think he's quick. I think he's got great hands. I love this player. I've got him at number 20. At number 19, I've got Arch Manning. I don't expect him to come out. I'm not going to spend any time on this one because we all know what Arch Manning is. Obviously, the nephew of Peyton and Eli, but great arm, great athlete, has only played in a couple of games. I don't expect him to come out, but wanted to show you where he would be if he does. At 18, I've got Anthony Hill. I think if he can improve a little bit better in coverage, this is one of the best linebacker prospects of the last few years, like right up there with Jahad Campbell last year for me. Really, really good athlete, a guy that I think you could convert to edge because he is so good athletically. Just a really good player. Good overall tackler, good range, sideline to sideline. I've got him at number 18. At number 17, I've got Avion Terrell at 5'11", 180. Just a disciplined coverage defender that has quick hips, great closing speed, athleticism is there. Another guy that just misses a lot of tackles because he's a little bit undersized. But I think he can play outside. I think he can play in the nickel. And I think he is a really good competitor. So I've got him at 17. At 16, I've got Caleb Lomu. Really just sound offensive tackle tape. Good athlete, great footwork, picks up blitz as well, good hands and pass protection. I don't think he's a consistent enough run blocker, but he is a good enough athlete to get to that point. Will overset and get beat to quickness, and I think needs to add on weight, but I've got him at number 16. I really like him. At 15, I've got Caleb Banks. I mean, what's there not to love? A guy with freakish size and length at 6'6", 329 pounds. You could see a little bit more nuance as a pass rusher, but really explosive, has good lateral quickness. The bull rush, I think, is definitely in there. Active hands for the position, but a 26% missed tackle rate, which is not good. At 14, I've got Cade Klubnik. I just love so much of what he brings to the quarterback position. Accuracy, the ability to push the ball up the middle of the field. Good overall athlete for the position. I don't know that he's got the highest ceiling, but good zip on his passes. Good in the short to intermediate game. Accuracy is there. Does underthrow it. Has to improve his pocket presence and recognizing blitzes, but I'm a big fan of Klubnik. I think he probably will be the number one quarterback off the board, despite him being my QB3. At QB2, I have Lenore Sellers. I mean, he is Anthony Richardson on steroids with experience. I mean, just a guy with an unbelievable arm, unbelievable pocket presence, and the ability to evade sacks. If he can improve his accuracy, he is going to be an awesome player. He's a one read and go type of quarterback right now. Has to improve at reading defenses, but he's coming back for another year, and that's the big thing that Anthony Richardson didn't have. He didn't have multiple years of experience. I think Sellers is going to have a big-time year for South Carolina. I've got him at 13, but my QB1, Sawyer Robertson. I've not backed off of this take. I'm not going to back off of this take until I am given a reason not to. Sawyer Robertson, to me, is the most talented quarterback in this draft class. No, he doesn't have the upside of a guy like Lenore Sellers. But my God, does he have a better floor than Lenore Sellers. I think his ability to go through his progressions is fantastic. I think he's got great arm talent. He's shown the ability to push the ball deep. Like, that's not been a question on his game. Can he be a more consistent deep ball passer? I think he can. I want to see him throw with more touch, read pressures and blitzes a little bit better. But a guy that has unbelievable ball placement. I think he has shown the ability to make plays with his leg. read the field really well. I think he goes through his progressions at a really high rate. He's scanning left to right constantly. People are starting to jump on the Sawyer Robertson hype train. I don't know if I've seen many people have him at QB1, but people really like Baylor, and the big reason is they know that they have a dude at quarterback. Sawyer Robertson is my QB1 going into the NFL draft. I've got Francis Maui-Noah at number 11. Whether he's a guard or whether he's a tackle, I just think his strength and his ability to dominate the rep off the line of scrimmage is really, really good. Brings power, athleticism to the offensive line. Might not have the longest arms, plays high, and I do think he's slow to get his hands up, but a really good overall offensive lineman that I think could get into the top 10 of this draft. But now for the top 10, we're going to go player for player, talk about them each in depth. At number 10, I've got TJ Parker from Clemson. Really good overall player. 6'3", 265 pounds, has length. He reminds me a little bit of Jared Verse. I'm going to be completely honest, and that's probably going to be my comparison for him. Plays with a really high motor, is a really high floor run defender. The reason I have him at 10, I don't think he wins with a lot of pass rushing moves. I think he is a speed to power type of guy, and his bull rush will absolutely detonate offensive linemen. He's a really high floor power rusher. I just don't know that he has an insane amount of counter moves. Great run defender, high motor, really good bend as well. I have him at number 10. I really like TJ Parker. At number 9, I've got Keldrick Folk. I like Folk a little bit more than I like TJ Parker for the simple fact that I just think that Folk brings a little bit more upside to the position. He has shown a little bit more counters in his game. And while, yes, that is one of my notes, he doesn't have a great pass rush plan, he's a little bit more versatile. He's 6'6", 270, good run defender, athlete with good explosiveness, has a two-hand rip move. He's also going to be 20 years old on draft night and can work both inside and outside. The gap is incredibly thin between TJ Parker and Keldrick Folk. I favor Folk. I think he's a better run defender. I love the youth. I think he has more pass rushing upside potentially if he can develop more of a plan. But like I said, those two are very, very close. Obviously, 10 and 9 on my big board respectively. At number 8, I've got Isaiah World from Oregon. I freaking love this guy. Yes, the penalties are a concern, but this guy can block in the run game, and he is one of the best pass protecting left tackles in this draft class. Really good hands, really good anchor for the position. Yes, he got penalized a lot, played weaker competition in the Mountain West, but the hand fighting's phenomenal. The ability to pull in the run game is phenomenal. Great length. He's 6'8", 309 pounds. I'm all in on what he can be. There is a realistic chance that this is a first-round caliber tackle come April. At number, where are we at now? I believe 7. I've got Jermod McCoy. If he recovers from his ACL injury, he is the top corner in the class. I don't think there's any disputing that. Size, physicality, athleticism, it's all there. He checks every box. He's a good tackler. He's a good run defender. He absolutely shut down Ryan Williams. I mean, Jermod McCoy is everything you want in a cornerback. He checks every single box for you. I'm just really high on what he can be. Maybe a little bit grabby at the top of routes, but I think that could get cleaned up by good defensive back coaches. I've got him at number 7. At number 6, I've got Spencer Fano out of Utah. The best athlete, I think, in this draft class on the offensive line. Elite run blocker. Yes, the anchor in size can be a concern, but a guy that just has unbelievable run blocking upside. And I think his hand fighting and pass protection is really high. I really do. 6'6", 302 pounds. The anchor is up and down. There's no doubt about it, but the run blocking's awesome. The hand fighting is incredible. I've got him as my number 6 tackle. At number 5, entering my top 5 players, I've got Jordan Tyson. I am on record calling him a blue chip receiver. Whatever you want Jordan Tyson to do, he can do. He can separate deep. He's a really good route runner. He's got okay long speed to challenge vertically. He's got good size at 6'2", 195. Tracks the ball really well in the air. He might not be the best against press coverage, and I did think he was a underwhelming blocker, but I think he's one of the 5 best players in this draft class. I absolutely love his tape. I think Arizona State's going to have a really good season. I think Jordan Tyson is a big reason why. At number 4, I've got Jeremiah Love. Just a physical, speedy back. I think he's going to run on the 4.3s. Has shades of Jahmyr Gibbs and Joe Mixon. I mean, he's got great contact balance. He's got incredible elusiveness and footwork and the ability to just hurdle over defensive players. I know he's a running back. He isn't going to be a top 5 pick, but a guy that has great footwork, explosiveness, the vision I think is good. He might not be a great route runner. I think he's got more room to improve as a receiving back, but I think he is right around that, like Omarion Hampton sort of running back range. Omarion Hampton, Quinshon Judkins. I kind of had interchangeable, but I love, no pun intended, Jeremiah Love. At number 3, I've got Peter Woods. There's just not much that needs to be said. Everything you want in a defensive tackle, I think Peter Woods brings to the table. Power, speed, versatility, elite run defender, pass rushing upside for days, bend for the position. I mean, I am blown away by Peter Woods. I think he is one of the best defensive prospects I've ever studied. He's right on par with Jalen Carter and Mason Graham as defensive linemen. Just incredible. Active hands, versatility. He might have shorter arms for the position, but it doesn't matter. This guy is a freak. I've got him at number 3. At number 2, I've got Ruben Bain Jr. I know I'm higher on Ruben Bain, I think, than the consensus seems to be. He's just awesome, man. I mean, such a freaky athlete at 6'3", 275. And he's explosive, has the size, the length. But I think his ability to utilize his hands. He's a really high floor run defender, can win with speed and power, but he has shown a number of counter moves as a pass rusher that I absolutely loved to see. Did take a slight step back as a sophomore in 2024, but that should just go to show you how awesome this guy was as a true freshman. He's everything you want in an edge prospect. I don't know if I'm going to compare him to Myles Garrett, but there are shades of Myles Garrett in his game. I've got him at number 2, but my number 1 overall prospect is Caleb Downs. I think he's a perfect safety. I'm on record calling him a perfect prospect, and I think 3 different videos now. Yeah, he might get a little bit overzealous at times and struggle to get off of blocks. I think his play strength is genuinely his only concern. Elite run defender, tackler, range on the back end, speed, versatility. I mean, it's all there for Caleb Downs. He is the number 1 overall player. And for a safety to be the number 1 player should just go to show you how unbelievable this guy is. He is the best safety in this draft by a lot. He's the best safety I think I've ever watched by a lot. So that's going to do it. My top 100 prospects entering the 2025 college football season. Let me know, who do you think missed out? A couple of guys that were right outside the top 100 that were very close. Zane Durant, Tim Keenan, and Darrell Jackson, kind of interchangeable at that in that D tackle spot, all for various reasons missed out. But leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.